The thing about Aaron Rodgers is every single preseason, his team is among the preseason favorites to win a Super Bowl almost, no matter what else is around. And I know they lost their right tackle, who's a very, very good player, to the Chargers. Very, very good player. But every year there's some turnover. Are the main pieces on offense still there? Yes. Is their quarterback, who's one of the best who ever did it, could you anticipate he would have a better season than he did last year? Yes. Hard for me to imagine them winning fewer than double digits or less than the Vikings.
Well, their point differential, you suggested this, their point differential suggested that they were a 9-win, maybe 10-win team last year. So dropping them only to 12, I think, is wishful thinking from you. And there's reason to believe that Aaron Rodgers, not only his age, but like his performance, he has not been great in the last several seasons of his career. And why you think he's going to go back to like Hall of Fame level Aaron Rodgers as he gets older under in an organization that seems to be ready to move on from him, like, I don't understand. And as usual, we are often too focused on one side of the ball. That defense last year created a lot of turnovers, which we know is somewhat random. Their defense was not a great defense. They turned out to be a very good defense because they were able to create a lot of turnovers, which led to them winning. I think they were 6-1 in 7-point games. That type of stuff doesn't hold up. That type of stuff, you mentioned the word regress to the mean. Turnovers will regress to the mean. And if their defense doesn't get much better, then that defense will be worse this season. Those close one-score games, that stuff regresses to the mean. Even for the great Aaron Rodgers over the course of his career, you can't expect him to go 6-1 next year in one-score games. So there's a lot of evidence, not to even mention, well, you already mentioned it, but losing Bulaga is a problem. They didn't replace him there. Not upgrading the weapons is a problem because if you have an aging quarterback, we just got off of a conversation that was a bit about the Saints and Drew Brees. You know how you need to help out an aging quarterback with more and more weapons. They didn't do that. So I could understand that maybe you think the rest of the division isn't all that great, but the Packers are not nearly as good as we think they are coming off that 13-3 season. So I could see them losing this division to the Vikings, and maybe if Nick Foles turns out to be as good as he was that one season or those couple of seasons in Philadelphia, then the Bears could give them a problem. So I don't see them winning this division again this season.
Yeah, I think what Dominique's alluding to is the fact that, look, their margin for error is it's shrinking. It's becoming smaller and smaller, and they didn't help themselves with the fact that starting on the offensive side of the ball, the explosive component outside the numbers wasn't upgraded. Look, Devontae Adams can't do it all himself. They drafted Josiah DeGuara from Cincinnati, who is a combination fullback tight end, a guy who's going to operate in the middle of the field. He's not that explosive play component. And when you assume that at some point in time, Aaron just is not going to be able to do the same things he did in previous years when he was younger, as far as making spectacular plays and consistently lifting everyone else around him to play at a level that is really far and above what they normally play at, to expect him to continue to do that, I mean, that's probably unrealistic. So where then does the improvement come from? Where does the improvement come from in order to continue to play as a team that can win 13, 14 games? And that's assuming, again, you can copy the performances Dominic alluded to that you had last year as far as getting the kind of turnovers that you needed and being as opportunistic as you were. So, I mean, I think when you're talking about are they going to repeat in this division, look, I like Minnesota. I like the explosive component that Minnesota has on offense. I like the fact that all 5 starters are coming back on the offensive line. I like the fact that Kirk Cousins answered some questions last year. I like that they drafted Justin Jefferson to go along with Adam Thielen. I like the tight ends that they have, headed by Kyle Rudolph. And I like this defense that has been revamped. Although there will be no Everson Griffin, they still have Daniil Hunter, who's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. They have some of the best linebackers in the NFL when you're talking about Anthony Barr and Michael Kendricks. Or Eric Kendricks, rather. And then in the back end, they revamped this entire secondary, which really, especially on the corner, has been their Achilles heel. So I think they are poised to strike. And I think Green Bay, look, I really do feel like all things being equal, they kind of stood pat. And they're thinking that their improvement's going to come from within. Whereas Minnesota made some changes. They made some changes that I think will make them better. And really the key components that are going to drive their success showed last year that they can step up and play when they need to play, and I think they will ultimately be crowned NFC North champs this year.
Couple things. If the NFC North gets stronger, that doesn't necessarily hurt the Packers getting out of the division because all those teams have to play each other. If Foles actually improves the Bears, that hurts the Vikings as much as it hurts the Packers. If Stafford can stay healthy, the Lions are a lot better than people realize. And Stafford, I think, is like, that quarterback list we did the other day. Who's elite? Who's not on the list? If Stafford is healthy, how many guys you ever seen really with more arm talent than that? That guy is extremely talented. So that doesn't necessarily just hurt the Packers getting out of the division. You talk about all the ways they may regress. I agree with you, Dominique. They should have some regression, but I mentioned that should be smoothed out somewhat by the fact that Rodgers, who was not happy with his last head coach, who just got this one, coming off a first year together where they won 13 games, and you could see clearly Rodgers was out of sorts. Right. Some of that regression to the mean is going to be mitigated by the fact that Rodgers, I would assume, would do better this year than last year. Second year in the system, acknowledgement from the head coach. They need to be more explosive. When you talk about Rodgers' regression as a player, as an athlete, because he's getting older, guys, Drew Brees is 40. Tom Brady's almost 43. Aaron Rodgers, 36 years old. That's not ancient for a quarterback, particularly for one with as many physical tools as he has. In other words, he can have diminished athletic ability and still be more athletic than most. So if anything, I would predict a better season for Aaron Rodgers, and therefore, even if the Packers are worse in other areas, and you take a couple games off, maybe you put one or two back because of that and the coach-quarterback combination in the second year. I would think this is a double-digit win team. I think that's probably going to be good enough to get out of the division.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.